Hey, Heidi, how are you? It's odd to see you here at this 12:30 hour as you're a 9:30 person. All right, so people are switching it up today. She likes to come twice, which I appreciate. And Holly, good to see you. Matt, Christian, Ian. Ian's like 19 years old and getting into real estate. He works on Matt's team, so that's awesome. Caitlin. So look, we are going to continue our conversation from yesterday. And one of the things that we had did in the morning session was start to actually talk about the application of this. So did anyone besides Matt, because I know his answer's yes, do their assignment from yesterday? Or who wasn't here raise your hand if you did not attend the session yesterday? Either one of them. Okay, I'll give you a recap. Don't worry, Holly, I got you. We really talked about, look, as the world continues to shift, right? I did this in the end of the last session. I'll do it in the beginning. Does anyone really care to hear my 2 cents and my Nostradamus predictions of what's going to happen in real estate? Some, yes. Okay. I don't think I sold Holly, but maybe. So if you think about this, we are going to experience more change than we ever seen. Right? If you look at the millennial consumer, if you look at interest rates that are over 6%, if you look at what these platforms are doing, you know what the difference between these third-party platforms and all of us are? They track the ever-living hell out of everything. And all of the things and changes they make to their platform are based on data, right? So the first big shift that you all want to think about is you're not competing with each other anymore. You're competing with these websites. Think about that. It's not an agent you're competing against. You're competing against these websites. Now let's take that one step further, right? Hey, Victoria, good morning. So we're talking about some of the shifts that we're going through here. And I was sharing with everyone how we really, and think about it, Zillow, Redfin, Realtor.com. I don't know how it's still alive. I have to add that in every time. Trulia. These websites have people that track everything from time on page, time in area, how many times people click. Literally, that's their entire business, right? So we need to get out of the idea of like, oh, how do we get our clients off these websites? There's a way to get them off their websites, but that's not 0 to 1 anymore, right? If you're telling somebody that the first time you interact with them, hey, Victoria, like you're wrong in searching on Zillow, there's a better thing. Is that really a good way to start a relationship? No. Is that a way a lot of us agents try to start relationships? Some, yes. Holly, good. No for you. Good. But enough people do. Hey, I have off-market listings. Great. So do a whole bunch of other people. You better hope they don't talk to a Compass agent. So if we understand and shift, like these things are our competitors, the first thing we have to do, and write this down, in learning the market shift is completely understand these platforms. Completely understand these platforms. Because if you don't understand the platforms, you will forever be handicapped in your conversations with people. You have to understand the platforms. And the second thing is these things keep changing, right? Someone said to me today, they're like, oh, I didn't know you could you could just schedule a video chat. So a big thing that came out of the morning meeting was adding Calendly. Does anyone use Calendly? A couple of us, right? There you go, Ian, young and fresh. So Calendly is a program that you could sync with your Google Calendar, or based on the slots that you make available, somebody could just book an appointment. So did anyone take the time to obsessively look through Zillow or any of these sites yesterday after our call? Joanne. All right. So what were your takeaways?
I mean, there's pretty much as much information that they have. I mean, sometimes even more. For example, there was a property, and I looked in the MLS on the property history view, and it wasn't recorded in MLS because it was an off market. And the mortgage broker that I was talking to is like, oh, no, I just found the property history in Redfin. And it wasn't in Miami-Dade tax because it had just sold like within 30 days. So it hadn't been updated on Miami-Dade tax. It wasn't in the MLS because it was an off-market sale, but somehow he found it on Redfin. He goes, oh yeah, it sold 30 days ago for blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, okay, great. So, I mean, there's a lot more information at their fingertips than I was aware that they had. That was my takeaway.
So do you see how this could cause a problem for you?
Yeah.
And how would that be?
It's not so much of a problem. It's more like a shift and a challenge. It's like real estate, I'm always shifting. The way I do real estate today is different than how I did it 10 years ago. So it's more like being ahead of the curve and being able to properly explain my value proposition on why they need a realtor or why they're going to need my help at some point. And being able to explain that, because trying to fight against the information that they have online is like, I got to go with the flow. I can't go against it. They're not going to get offline. I have people that I set them up on collections and they still send me listings from Zillow. And I look at that listing and it's in collections. Like it had been updated in collections and they're still sending me links from Zillow that they email me like, hey, what about this one?
So let's shift that need to why they need to work with you to why they want to work with you. Look, Lynn, we match. It need to want, right? Think about it. Everyone wants to buy. Nobody wants to be sold, right? So if I gave you all $10,000 and say, hey, let's go to Fifth Avenue and blow a bunch of money, you're gonna be like, oh, let's do this, right? And if we're like, hey, you want to go buy some stuff? And it's just like, oh, I don't know. You want to go be sold on Canal Street? Has anyone ever walked down Canal Street in Manhattan? Yeah, man, they're selling. By the way, just random side note tangent. If you ever want to practice your negotiation skills, go to Canal Street and try to get a discount from one of those people. It is like one of the best things. And I'll share a funny story with you because I used to actually go down there and I used to practice all the time. And I remember going back and forth with this guy, going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, doing takeaway closes, walking away and everything like that. And I finally got the guy to give me my price. And it was over something that was like $12, $15. It wasn't even a lot of money. And I saw someone looking at that item. I was like, oh, are you looking at this? And the guy goes, yeah. I go, here. I gave him the item I bought for free. And you had to see the look on this guy's face. He was like, he goes, hey. I go, what? He goes, why you do that? Why you do that? I said, oh, I was practicing my negotiations and I won, so I don't need the item. I said, I got what I needed. Have a nice day. And I walked away. Right. So like you need to understand the difference between being sold and wanting to buy. Right. They should want something for you. Is Canal like a Melrose Avenue? Canal Street is a street with a bunch of knockoff bags, aggressive vendors, and every person saying, I have a very special price for you. Right? So it is like the epitome of New York hustle flow. It's very interesting. Come next time you go to New York, have someone I'll bring you to Canal Street. Victoria will go practice negotiating. Now, look, in all seriousness, number one, understanding the client experience. That is the most important thing, because what all agents do is they offer stuff to people for free that they can get. No, they offer stuff to people as a paid service that they're getting on their own for free. Do you realize the second you do that, you're out, Ian, right? Like, don't ever offer something that they can get for free. Bad news. So once we understand that, now we can start doing a shift. What do we offer that nobody else can? Do you want to know the best way to do this? Anyone have an idea? Since it's a small group, we can all like talk to each other. So feel free to unmute yourself. What's the best way to find out what you could offer people that's not on the internet?
Ask them.
Who are we asking?
The buyer.
Yep, you can ask the buyer, right? Hey, how can I be helpful? What would be how can I be helpful? What are you looking for that you're unable to find or find with confidence on the internet? Do you know what the best way to do this is? And now we're going to start talking about playing offense. Why don't we all reach out to our past clients? Hey, Holly, I hope you're planning. I hope this is the beginning. Hold on. How did I say this? I hope you're getting ready for the start of a great summer. We are always looking for ways. I'm always looking for ways to improve the experience of new people moving to our community. What would have been most helpful to you during the process of either finding a home or moving that you found out after you moved? Appreciate your help and thank you in advance for taking the time to do so. As always, if you need anything, I'm here to help. Try. Do you, and the subject line would say, need your help. Do you think people would respond to that email? Yeah. You want to know why? Need your help. Most people like to give information and sound smart. That's the best bit of information, right? Who here can send that email? Who here is going to send the email? So please, everyone send that email, right? Or a version of it. You guys all got it down? Give me a thumbs up, right? The concept is really simple. Send it in a bulk email today to people that just moved within the last year or 2 years, right? Let's collect the responses, and I'm going to show you how to work with them and implement them going forward. So let's talk about an actual example, right? Who works in 1 to 5 main areas? Anybody? Okay, Victoria, Ann, Holly. All right, so all of you unmute yourself. Heidi. So each of you share, right? Think about this. Each of you share one thing that people will want living somewhere, right? Like, I'll give you an example. One person this morning said, this great coffee place, right? And I said, what's great about the coffee place? Oh my God, they have the most amazing espressos. And in the evening, they play live music and you can go sit there and enjoy your coffee. That's great. That's more than the internet, right? Like, what else could you be looking for? Victoria, I'll go in the order that I see. Victoria, what do people, based on where you work, after people move, what are like those local little nuances that people can enjoy the most in your area?
The very specific trails in the park, like walking to the Batman caves, which is where they filmed Batman, or all of the little private trails at Griffith Park.
I was in LA and I didn't know about the Batman trails. Come on.
You didn't ask, man.
See, this is what I'm talking about. This is playing offense, right? Batman caves, that's a cool one, right? So you would write, is that, would you consider that a hike?
Yeah. It's a hike to the.
So it would say like this. Her thing would say living, and what would be the community name?
The Oaks.
Okay, living the Oaks, right? And under hiking, it's going to say, ever want to see where Batman was filmed? One of the things that people love most about this community is the hike to blank and blank, where you can go experience the Batman caves, and after it, check out some of our recommendations for great lunch spots or juicy bars or juice bars after, right? You have to think about it editorial. The internet is static information. It's like who, what, where, when, why, how, right? So if you're writing and you're creating this has to be in your voice. Do not just put a directory of shit. It's like going to who's ever gone to a Cheesecake Factory? Think about it. That menu is like 92 pages long and it's just overwhelming. You have no idea what to eat. You have no idea what to do. And if you look at the calorie counts, you're not going to want to eat anything because it's like horribly unhealthy for you. That's a whole different subject, right? Like, think about that. Your job is to curate this experience. So you said hiking, and what do you have in your area?
On the summer, I live by Stern Grove Festival, and they have every Sunday starting last week, free music festivals. So Sunday was Tower of Power, And it's pretty cool.
So music festivals, right?
Mhm.
So enjoy weekly summer music festivals, blah, 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 right? Do you think you're going to find those little details of all that stuff on the internet laid out in a simple way? No, you're not. But this also turns into evergreen content. Evergreen content is content you make once, you could use it over. This can go on social, this can go on a blog, this can go on a website, and this can go into like a living guide, right? All right, so Heidi, what do you have?
I don't think I have anything that interesting, but I have a lot of dog parks that aren't necessarily dog parks that everybody uses. But I think my biggest thing with where I live and where I do most of my real estate is we have some really weird school districting lines, and that it is fairly easy to get a transfer, but people coming in wouldn't know that. So being able to tell them how to do that and how easy it is has allowed me to sell homes that maybe are not in such a great school district, and give them the guides on how to do it.
So that's one, but that whole dog park thing. Have you ever met?
Yeah,
Have you ever met all these dog owners in America? They like them more than their kids, half the people, because
with
they
the
don't ever
big
argue.
signs that says all your dogs have to be on a leash, but everybody's out there drinking wine and their dogs are running off the leash, the little quiet
Exactly,
tuckaway
like
ones.
exactly. Ever want to enjoy a glass of wine and a bunch of great animals in company with your dog? Like that.
Yeah.
Those are the kinds of things. So here's the point that I want to make. Are all three of these things something that someone could value highly living in a place? Yes or no? Jazz fest, great hikes, the right parks to go to that feel more like a community than like a park. Holly, what do you have?
I live in the Wayzata area, which is right on the shores of Lake Minnetonka. And some of the great things about our community is it's very walkable. There's great restaurants and shopping. There's a dog park right in there. There's a panaway, which you're able to walk right along the shoreline, which is kind of cool. It connects to an entire trail system that goes throughout the Twin Cities. So it's very bikeable and walkable. And they have music.
All right, so let's take
so.
Thursday night music, right? Like, think about this. Write this word down. Creating experiences, right? Done the right way, this guide should be able to literally, you should read it and be like, I want that. That's the big part. Now, does anyone have questions on how to do this for their area? 0 to 1, we interview our clients, right? See what they want. Number 2, as you're doing this guide, right? Literally, you're going to find 5 to 10 different categories of information and recommend one thing for each. People have nothing, and then they're like, oh, well, I need to give them all these options. The last time I checked, there's a lot to be said about just knowing one place to go. And I say this to people all the time. I consider myself a savvy consumer, right? Like, I know how to do research. I think I'm almost half intelligent, right? And I still go online all the time. And I go through the same thing. I lived in Westport, Connecticut since 2019. I literally start looking online for places to eat, coffee shops, things to do. And I'll be 15, 20 minutes in. And do you know what I do every single time? I go to my phone, I look up Karen Scott. I'm like, Karen, where do I go to do this? And she gives me a place. I say, thank you so much. Why do I want to sit there and troll around the internet? Real estate agents know the communities they work in better than anybody. And then there are people too, candidly, that could live in a community and still don't know their way around it. Right? Like, I've lived here. Look, you would assume that someone living somewhere for 3 years would know more than where 4 places were. I know how to get to the beach. I know how to get to the gym. I know how to get to the candy store my daughter likes and the Carvel ice cream my son goes, a school, and where the restaurants are. 5 places I know how to get to. And I've lived somewhere 3 years, almost 1,000 days. And I still go back to my real estate agent. Think about that. The value that you have more is of a lifestyle concierge on top of what the property does. Think about that. What do your clients ask you for? What do they need? What is not available online? Look to be the continuity of what's available online versus trying to replace what's available. So we have some time for questions. Who has questions about doing this, what we're going to do, how we're going to implement it? And look, ultimately, by giving people this type of information, it empowers them. By the way, is this stuff also very shareable with other people? Yeah. Remember, there are lots of people that live places that have no idea where they're going or what to do. So who has a question about doing this?
Hey, Chirag, I wanted to add to all the ways we can share this. We can now pin posts on Instagram, and it might be something worth pinning at the top. So whoever, past, current, or new clients can see that you're a local expert.
We're going to build this all out together. So tomorrow, when everyone comes with their stuff, I'm going to show you how to build this. And then someone's going to make it Marketing Center, and then we could all just duplicate it.
Perfect.
But the goal is to figure out what all these categories are, right? Hiking, coffee shop. People want to know like where to get their stuff dry cleaned. Pizza. Who doesn't like pizza? Every day in the evening, I tell myself I can just eat a pie of pizza tonight. It's going to be okay. Who doesn't like pizza, right? A good deli sandwich. People like that too. If you're out on the West Coast, like Creation was an amazing place I walk to every day for a great healthy shake. They had all like these immunity, like it had everything. I walked in there, I was like a kid in a candy store. Cool, funky shops, right? Listen, there's so much to do. Contractors, builders, right? So the other headline that you could do when you start thinking about contractors, builders, it's everything you need in your first 30 days. Like, what does somebody need in the first 30 days after moving? Right? This is what you need to do. All right, so we have a few minutes for questions, and that kind of closes off what we want to go through today. But I think we all have a good idea of what we need to do, how we need to get started. Look, and ultimately the goal is to stay ahead, right? Because as you're going to do this, you're going to be ahead. And in a few months from now, you're going to hear your colleagues complaining, well, I don't know what to say to these people. This really sucks. They could do it without me. And you're going to say, ha ha, I got this all already figured out now. Bye-bye. You're going to keep going forward. My goal, as long as you're here in this community, is to keep you ahead of change. It's not playing from behind anymore. We can get ahead because all these changes are now happening and we're starting the conversation today. Is anyone else talking about this? I've asked like 100 people this past week. No one is thinking about this. No one is talking about this. And this is a very real life change that's going on. It's not about shiny pennies and clicking buttons and everything. Technology is a vehicle. And we need to understand how to use the vehicle. But the number one reason that I would say after doing 10,000 hours plus of coaching sessions, do you want to know the number one reason I don't think agents' business grows year after year after year after year? There's no strategy in it. Strategy. This is a real like big picture, macro 360 view strategy. Like, let's get ahead and understand consumer shifts. Let's also understand what our clients enjoy the most, take the data, apply it, and offering it to people at scale. So tomorrow we're going to workshop this and we're going to keep doing it. And we're going to keep going ahead and ahead and ahead. And for everyone that this will turn into the playbook, think of like going from like a hotel room to like a waterfront suite. That's like the difference. It's like a complimentary upgrade. So there's going to be a lot more stuff available to you. And the nice part is as we start doing the re-onboarding, everyone will get an intake form and we're going to look at the intake form. And every week, based on what your goals are, we're going to send you an email that says, hey, we think you should take these classes every week. And you'll be in the group with other people that have similar goals to yourself. So anyone have any questions, thoughts, comments, concerns? Please send that email at the very least out today. Sounds good. All right, everyone. I love you all. I'll see you tomorrow. I'm excited for everyone to come with their list. And tomorrow, look, it's going to be a live workshop. We're going to be writing in the doc and we're going to get tactical. So between this week and next week, you can implement this process and go Warriors. All right. Bye, everybody.